questions and comments.
Oh, boy.
So we'll just go through
Right.
some of them here. We won't be able to get into a lot. In these instances, what happens to the victims on a spiritual level?
Well, that's hard to judge, but I can tell you from working with a lot of them and from personal experiencing it myself that because I've faced psychic attack, I've been heavily targeted in that way, um, which I can talk about, but they're drained. People who go up against this and who are tortured at a young age, there's a part of them that's just missing. And I'm not sure if it can ever be replaced, but part of the struggle in Healing Circle is to get people to own what happened to them. Because you never want to talk about the bad stuff first. And they also know that people did it are still walking around. So it's a dangerous thing to start naming names. But in the native circles, in the longhouses and that, they're called soul snatchers. They're like shaman who are working for the dark side. And when people are very vulnerable, they actually intrude and they believe can grab people's souls, which I don't believe. I think that part of us is not of this dimension, is not of this world. So you can't steal it. Even if you're willing, there's an element of us that can never be touched. We're multidimensional beings. I know that. And that's how I've survived this by relying on that. So that's kind of my short answer. I don't know if it really answers it for the person, but.
Well, thanks for the question, Wu Tai Warrior. I've got a question from Bernardo Soares, and this question is coming in every single day. 100 people have asked this at least. I might have to put this one out as a separate clip just to satisfy all these people asking about this. Greg Hallett, aka King John III, what are your thoughts?
Well, I've never met the man, and I've read some of the stuff, and I used to work in a psych ward to pay my way through seminary, and I would meet people who thought they were the king of England, right? I didn't take them that seriously. Whether we should take him seriously or not, it comes down to how you view the situation. Monarchy is against reason, it's against nature, and it's a crime against humanity. It doesn't matter who's wearing the crown. We do not have a sovereign over us. We are sovereign. The people are sovereign. Monarchy has been declared a criminal body in England. And so it's not a matter of somebody coming and saying, no, I'm going to refurbish the image now and be the right king. It's like what Bergoglio did when he became Pope. You bring in the smiley replacement. It's standard damage control. You bring in a new image on the old rotten institution and people think it's different. I'm amazed how often people are fooled by that because we're raised with a ingrained notion that there has to be a parental figure guiding us, whether it's God, there's a king, whether it's whoever, a spiritual advisor. We can't do it ourselves. We always need the figurehead, right? So I just think who he is doesn't matter. What he's doing is a fallacy because we govern ourselves. We are sovereign. If you want to think in terms of God, and if my Presbyterian and Puritan ancestors said this, we have only one authority. We have one sovereign, and that's God. Anyone who tries to replace God by saying, I'm the sovereign, that's blasphemy. That's all through the Bible. That was the basis of the British Commonwealth and the Republic in 1649. It goes against our faith to have a monarch. You know, it's a religious principle. It's a spiritual, political, moral principle on every front. So I would say, people, come on, look past the image to what's real and necessary, which is our own God-given inborn sovereignty. We don't need somebody to be it for us, right?
Truthless TV has asked for Kevin's opinion on the various Freemasonic orders and their connections to pedophilia.
Severe direct connection. I know all the judges in Canada are Masons and take Masonic pledges. Masonic temples are sources of routine child trafficking and killing. You know, so yeah, it's another hand puppet of the same beast, right? So in a nutshell.
So Anonymous has asked, ask Kevin about Kindlefrasserbrunnen, 400-plus-year-old public statue in Switzerland of a man eating babies, and do the Swiss run Satanists? And why would the Queen care about Catholics? She's the head of a Protestant church.
Well, she's not head of a Protestant church. She's like in a strictly, in a strict sense, a Protestant is someone who believes that Christ is the head of the church. The Church of England says the Queen is the head of the church. The Catholic Church says the Pope is the head of the church. No, you have, to a Christian, Christ is the church, not a human figure. So I don't think that's splitting a theological fine point. I think that just comes from the definition of what a Protestant is. Anglicanism is being described as kind of warmed over Catholicism, right? They've got many of the same rituals and assumptions. They just got a different person running it, right? And the first part of the question, I'm sorry, again, was
Kindle Brunnen, 400-plus-year-old public statue in Switzerland of a man eating babies. Thoughts on that, and whether Swiss-run Satanists?
Well, yes, Switzerland is a source for a lot of stuff because it's secret. It's kind of like Canada. In the areas that are least known, like Canada's vast, and so a lot of shit can happen here, right? And Switzerland is hidden. It's secretive. It's banks. It's whole thing. So yes, like a lot of the reports we had coming out were traceable back to Geneva, and one of the satanic high, kind of capitals of the world, from things I've read and heard from people. But again, this is like, it's a question of where is it not happening? Because you can go to anywhere in the world and you see this stuff going on. So the best guide is to trace the money, trace the places where you have unaccountable authorities like monarchs and popes and corporate heads. People are unaccountable, perfect cover for all of this crime, right?
Yeah, the Swiss had quite a role in recycling the Jewish money and gold,
Yep,
didn't they, as well, for the Nazis?
very much. Yeah.
Di Kyle has asked, how does it all continue? Is it a grooming process started in the hives, the private schools, Oxford, Cambridge Uni? How do they recruit?
Well, it's out in the open, really. I mean, it's like, I'll give you a personal example. When I arrived in Port Alberni, I went as a young minister. The first gathering of ministers I went to was called the Presbytery. An old guy called Oliver Howard came over, and he worked on the mission boats going up and down the coast to the Indian villages for many years. And he said to me, we were talking away, and I asked about the Indians because there weren't any Indians in any of the churches. And I began to ask why. And he said, well, it's easy to get a native child if you want one. That's all he said. And I kind of looked at him oddly, like, what? Well, what are you talking about? And he then kind of checked me out and then said, oh, it's all right. It was a probe to see if I was interested. And then if I was, I'd go to the next stage. And I mean, those recruitment tactics are always quite visible, because don't forget, these people feel they're God. They have nothing to fear. They're protected by the authorities. They can be very open about it. It's even reflected in movie scripts all the time, right? They kind of lay out their agenda all the time as if to say, haha, look what we're getting away with. It's like they get a rush off it, right? So secret societies are not that secret in reality. They like to create the impression of secrecy because it creates a sense of invulnerability. And that's how you keep the sheeple in line, thinking these people are all powerful, but they're not. They're actually very mediocre as individuals. I found that when I went up against the church leadership, these guys are just pathetic as human beings, but they need to hide behind the institutional power, right, for that reason. So it's like the little man behind the mask in The Wizard of Oz, right? They're little shits. We shouldn't fear them at all.
It's like they laughed at us when they killed Epstein, and they may laugh at us when they kill Maxwell, and they don't care that we know, because to them the consequences are worse. Anyway, all right, Animal Bob. Thank you to both of you. I know researching and reporting on paedophilia and trafficking can take its toll. I've read a few articles about Kevin and how he lost everything by trying to get the truth out. Courage, temerity to forge on is incomprehensible. My question is, where would people go, or what would we research to start utilizing the same courts that tried and convicted the Queen? Is there any knowledge Kevin has that might help people to try those who seem untouchable?
Get this book, our common law training manual. We tell you how to do it, how to set up these courts, but the philosophy and history behind the common law as well, and including copy of Magna Carta, which people need to read, and the methods that you can use. Common law has universal jurisdiction. It doesn't require a statute in your country saying we recognize this. It comes out of natural law, which means anyone can do it. These are inborn liberties. So that's on Amazon. Kevin Annett, Establishing the Reign of Natural Liberty, a Common Law Training Manual. I urge you to get that. And contact me